The magnitudes of vector A vector, B vector and C vector are respectively 12, 5 and 13 units, and A vector plus B vector equal to C vector. Then the angle between A vector and B vector is. So here we have given three vectors whose magnitudes are given. That is A vector having magnitude 12, B vector having magnitude 5 and C vector having magnitude 13, and a condition is given, that is A vector plus B vector is equal to C vector, means C vector is the resultant of A vector and B vector. So on solving this with the help of triangle law, we will draw a triangle here. So according to data, we can see 12, 5, 13 will gives us a standard triangle, means right angle triangle. So here we will get a right angle triangle having sides 12, 5 and 13, and we know in right angle triangle the largest one is hypotenuse, which will be equal to 13 units according to our data. Therefore this will represent C vector, and remaining two sides will be perpendicular and base, which can be represented by A vector and B vector. Suppose I have considered base as A vector and perpendicular as B vector. Therefore, with the help of given data, we conclude that the triangle will be right angle triangle and the largest side will be hypotenuse. So according to our data, it will be represented by C vector. And C vector is also representing the resultant of these two vectors. Now we will draw arrow to see how it will convert into a triangle law. So A vector plus B vector, suppose I have considered A vector in this direction. Now on continuation we will draw B vector, means head of A will coincide with tail of B and tail of B will coincide with head of A. Now we will draw C vector, that is resultant, means tail of A vector, that is first vector, will have tail of C vector and head of B vector will have head of resultant vector. So I will draw head of resultant vector, which will be like this, means in this direction we have B vector and in this direction we will represent C vector. Therefore this will be our figure in which we can see A vector, B vector and C vector are represented like this. Now we have to calculate angle between A vector and B vector. So we can easily see what is the angle by extending this part. Extending this part, we will see this angle is also 90 degree. Means angle between two vectors will be calculated when their heads are meeting, heads or tail meets at a point. So we have seen A vector and B vector are meeting at a point, but A vector is having their head and B vector is having its tail. So we have extended this so that we can get an angle between A vector and B vector. After extending this, we can represent vector like this. This will be our A vector, and on extending I am representing from the same point B vector. So this angle will be the angle between A vector and B vector. So we can easily see angle between vectors, suppose it is represented by theta, is 90 degree. Therefore answer of this question will be 90 degree. Thank you.